Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today's video, out riding at 007 at Fast Lake.
Alright guys, so in today's video I'm going to be giving you a review on some of the Continental tires that I've used. I've used 3 in total, so I've used the Kryptotal front and rear specific, and then I've also used the Argotal tire. So I've ran the Kryptotal front and then the Argotal rear for about roughly 1 year, and then absolutely loved the traction that it gave compared to the Maxxis Assegai and DHR2 that I originally had on my transition relay. They were getting a little bit aged, so the initial switch is when I noticed the most amount of grip. So after that 1 year period, I got some criticisms from one of my friends, Jeff, and decided to then switch the Argotal to the front and then the Kryptotal front tire to the rear. After making the switch, I noticed that the tire combo was not the best in terms of braking traction, as the Argotal was an Aviator tire, and then the Kryptotal front specific tire is like the Maxxis Assegai. But the Maxxis Assegai does have like a dead zone between the center knobs and the corner knobs, so I did really like the Kryptotal front in the front, but I did notice that the Argotal was a little bit more bitier. The Argotal was probably one of my favorite front tires that I've ever had. I feel like the amount of corner support is just insane. I felt myself get really comfortable leaning the bike over, almost like I was in MotoGP. The bad thing was that the Argotal did wear out pretty fast. Within a few months of moving it to the front, I noticed it started slipping out within corners and my confidence in it started dwindling. Then after a few months, I moved the Kryptotal front to the front specific and then decided to get a Kryptotal rear specific tire. And by this time, the Kryptotal front tire was wearing out, but not nearly as fast as the Argotal. This is my current tire setup as I'm currently running on my Transition Sentinel, and then finding it to kind of be the perfect all condition tire setup. I do think that the setup is perfect for pretty much any terrain that I'm going to run into within California. Alright, so after giving you guys my experience on the tires and how I'm running them, I'm now going to quickly take you through some of the pros and cons that I've run into through my time running these tires. So first, starting off with the pros, I found that the lifespan of these tires to be some of the best. The Kryptotal front tire has been on my bike for almost 2 years, and it's been swapped from the front to the back, and now it's back to the front, and is now starting to show a decent amount of wear, but it's still relatively grippy. Another pro is the initial grip. I found these tires to be relatively grippy once they're brand new. I will say that they do beat out the Schwalbe, the non-radial Schwalbes, and then the Maxxis tires, but are just short of the Michelin tires that I have on my transition relay. Additionally, another pro is the tread patterns. I'm a big fan of Continental tread patterns as they have a good amount of variety, but not too much where it feels overwhelming. It's fairly easy to find the tire that will be the best suited for your riding conditions. Another pro that I really liked is case offerings. It's kind of similar to tread pattern, but I really like how they only have 3 types of casing: trail, enduro, and then downhill. It makes it really easy for the consumers to then make a decision on what type of casing they want. Okay, now switching over to the cons. One of the cons is that the casings are weird. Like enduro is, I feel like, not enough, but then I feel like DH is too much in terms of weight and how the overall tire feels. Next up then, I want to go to the install, which I feel like is kind of widely known, is how hard these tires are to get installed onto the actual rim. The bead is just super tight, and then additionally, if you run Cushcore, good luck getting the tire on, because it's almost impossible when you have Cushcore also. And then my last con is the sidewalls. I feel like the sidewalls are relatively flexy. Additionally, that after a few months, I noticed that the sidewall does leak. It has a decent amount of air leaking out of it. And then also like the sidewall gets super chewed out. That's one, like, I guess, big negative con that I've run into when running Continental tires, is that the sidewalls are typically a little bit too flexy for me, and the fact that they start leaking a few months after ownership. Alright guys, and that's going to be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you could give the video a like, helps out a ton. And then if you guys want to consider subscribing, that helps out a ton as well. If you guys have also run these tires yourself, feel free to leave a little review down in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts, what you think of the tires. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.